still here, but the vibe's a little different. Unpredictable, hide the kids and the women. Sports of all sorts, music, mixed for living. Rep New York City, but ain't the politician. Always bring the heat, Steph, bacon in the kitchen. Big shout to y'all, I appreciate the listen. Donnie put the rest, but I'm still in the best. In the world of what I do, all y'all know the rest. I live it, I breathe it, I'm the whole definition. The pinnacle, the ultimate, I'm on a new mission. The salty thoughts of Mike Steph, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, the best in the world of what he does. Tap in. What up, people? Welcome to episode number 10 of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, best in the world at what he does. Let me reiterate that. Best in the world at what he does. Yeah, man. I'm back for another episode. I'm back for another week. I'm just back, period. It's funny because it's currently 9:53 on a Sunday evening, as the Prince of Bel-Air is playing in the background for those who might hear. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched this past season, you probably are going to be spoiled. Plus, if you hear some of it in the background, because at this point in time, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm back today. Like I said, 9:53 on Sunday evening. And I ain't gonna lie, I just woke up maybe about an hour ago. I've actually had this set up as usual for the last 2+ hours. And of course, my laptop had to start updating. And by the time it finished updating, I fell asleep. Yeah. My daughter actually took a video of me sleep with everything set up, update over, and I'm just knocked out like this. Snoring and all. If I felt like being a total open book, I would have asked her to send me the file, and I would have actually put that video clip on this podcast, but I'm just not that giving this weekend. No. You know how not giving I am this weekend? I'm not even going to talk about sports today. Yeah, how about that? Ain't that about a you know what? I'm talking about sports today. I am going to talk about I'm going to get a lot of things off my chest that I need to get off. Oh, yeah, by the way, this is the intro. And a lot of those things have nothing to do with sports. Yeah, I know. Some long-time listeners would probably be like, yeah, it's a coincidence that, you just came off a doubleheader of losses this past Saturday, and you just coincidentally decide, oh, yeah, you're not going to talk about sports today. Oh, yeah, you're not going to talk about your New York Knickerbockers losing in Game 3 against the Miami Heat. Actually, not losing, getting blown the hell out this past week. Well, yesterday, Saturday, against the Miami Heat. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about, oh, yeah, my Golden State Warriors. Yeah, peep the hat. Peep the coordination. Listen. And funny thing is, I bought this shirt maybe about, when did AEW start? 2019. So I bought this shirt in 2018. This is the Golden Elite shirt. Do y'all know what the Golden Elite is? That's the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Golden Elite. If I felt like turning around in the back and said, change the world, and that's what I thought they were going to do. I haven't worn this shirt in about 3 years for 2 reasons. One, I'm not that big a fan of the Elite anymore. And 2, I just didn't have a hat to really match until my Warriors came out with this golden hat to fit the Golden State, and it actually happens to match the Golden Elite. Yeah, listen, I'm just on my ish today. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about my Warriors because my Warriors lost by 30 to those Los Angeles Lakers, to that LeBron James led team, to that rabid fan base that I chose not to even read, even be on social media like that. And don't get me wrong, it had nothing to do with the sports. Not really. You know, sometimes I just don't feel like being bothered by looking on social media. Sometimes I just get in the zone and I just feel like taking it old school and just being me, just being at one with my zen, at one with my chi. And that's what I decided to do. But yeah, with all that being said, yeah, I ain't talking about sports today. I ain't talking about the Mets, who have lost 8 of their last 10 games, and they are currently sitting 1 game below 500, despite having the highest payroll in Major League Baseball of over $300 million. No, I ain't talking about sports today. They lost this weekend series against the Colorado Rockies. And I called it. I called it weeks ago, to tell you the truth. And someone who actually resides in Bergen Beach, somewhere, I wish this was transparent, but somewhere in the middle of Brooklyn, matter of fact, to the left, actually to the left of the borough of Brooklyn, you know, in that corner of Brooklyn called Bergen Beach, that resides in a group home. Yeah. Some guy told me I was overreacting by saying that this team might be the second coming of the worst team that money can buy. So far, unfortunately, they're proving Mike Steph correct. Yeah, but I ain't talking about sports today. No. I ain't talking about sports today. I'm going to discuss a couple of things that's going on in the city of New York. One of the ways that my good brothers at Gimmick Infringement would say about my podcast, you know, when they would plug it, they would say, yeah, tune in, and he would give you the latest on football, basketball, sports, music, and New York politics. Matter of fact, yeah, it was sports, music, wrestling, and New York politics, New York City politics. And I've kind of strayed away from that for various reasons. Just for the fact that I just felt like, I deal with politics, or I deal with the everyday happenings of the city. So for my 1 day a week that I decided to spread love to the masses, I just felt like, we, especially us in New York, we already deal with it. Why would we want to talk about it even more? This would be like more of an escape. Well, guess what? It ain't going to be an escape this weekend. No. Plus, I was reminded, matter of fact, I wouldn't say reminded, it came to mind, discussion I had with my bro weeks ago. Speaking of which, I got to holler at him and make sure he all right. But we was talking about just issues, world issues. And he was like, yeah. He was like, yo, Mike, I was tuning in and, I was hoping you would bring up XYZ, but we talk about it now, but, I just thought maybe you would talk about it on the pod. It wasn't a suggestion. It was just he knows sometimes I would veer off into that area, and I would just speak my mind. And like I said, lately I just haven't been doing that. So I decided, I was like, you know what? Today is going to be a day that I just shoot off the hip. Hopefully, it would not be too controversial, but at this point in time, I don't care because at the end of the day, it's my opinions, my thoughts, my beliefs, and nobody else's. So if you agree with it, great. If you don't, you don't. Don't know what to tell you. Some people would say stream of consciousness, but this whole podcast type thing is a stream of consciousness, you know. But a couple of things happened this past week that I feel like I would be shirking my responsibility of just bringing to light. Since I have a platform, I have a responsibility. Sometimes I feel off that. Sometimes I ain't going there. But this week, there's been a couple things that's been in the news, and this is not even for clout. Give a fuck about clout. Excuse my French. I don't care about clicks. I don't care about clickbait. I don't care about none of that. Whoever's gonna watch is gonna watch. Whoever's gonna listen is gonna listen. So I've realized that years ago. Shoot, don't you know next month will be 4 years? Quattro. Hey, sister Steph. Quattro años since I started El Pod. Let me get all the jokes out the way because a lot of things I'm going to talk about today is not really going to be funny. So, but yeah, I've known many años ago that, you know, it really, at the end of the day, none of this matters. None of this matters. You know, if you get your little coin off of it, great. If you don't, you don't. You know, like I said last week, you know, sometimes the math ain't mathing, but it's okay. It doesn't really matter to me. I do this because I feel like it. I do this sometimes because I just want to get my voice out there. Sometimes I feel like some people don't need to have that voice, but in my case, it's a hobby. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, let me just tell you what's on deck this week. I'm going to discuss the killing of Jordan Neely on a New York City subway train by a strap hanger, by a fellow passenger. And the talk and the disparity of what happened, what normally would happen, what should happen, and people's actions on it, like people's opinions on it. I won't even say split down the middle, but let's say just for the hell of it, just split down the middle 50-50. Some people are on one side, some people on another side, and I'm going to give my side. And I'm actually going to, because right now in front of me, if you can see, I'm looking down. Right now in front of me, I have an article from the New York Times that was put out yesterday. And I'm going to read from that article to kind of give me some type of structure. Because, yeah, this is going to be one of those. I didn't take no notes. This is going to be straight from the heart, straight from the dome. I'm going to use that article to kind of riff off of my thoughts. And maybe, just maybe, if you have thoughts on this tragedy that happened, you can put your thoughts. Don't be afraid. Look, this is a free space over here. You can put your thoughts down in the comment, and maybe we can have a rapport. Maybe have a back and forth over what you feel should have been happened, what you feel about what has happened, and what you think should happen in the future. God forbid something like this ever happens again. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about that. vigilantes. Is it vigilante season? Is it? It reminds me from back in the 80s, Bernard Getz. For all the people of a certain age. I was young at the time. I don't remember exactly. I know it was in the 80s. So I couldn't have been more than 10, 11. Probably a little younger than that. When Bernard Getz, the subway vigilante, was on the train and shot down African American in quote unquote self-defense. Got away scot-free. And kind of stoked the flames of racial discontent in the city, because everybody knows if the situation was reversed, the verdict would not have been that way. And that's the type of vibes that I'm getting right now. Unfortunately, a man's life was lost. And I would like for his life not to be lost in vain, because things need to happen. So I will be talking about that in only the way that I can. And I would just be talking about the fact that in the city, everything is too damn high. And I know that's the same way it is throughout the country, because inflation is through the roof. Yeah, the roof is the ceiling. Inflation is too damn high. Inflation is going through the roof. And everything, especially in the city, is too damn high. And I'm just going to give my couple thoughts on what the hell is going on in the city and my anger, or should I say my frustration of what's going on in New York City and perhaps the nation as a whole. So yeah, that's what's on deck this week. Like I said, I ain't talking about sports. I gave you the update of sports. Knicks are down 2-1 in their best of 7. The Warriors are down 2-1 in their best of 7. And the Mets suck. But with all that out the way, let's get this show on the road. Ha! Without further ado, good night and goodbye. Bang! Yeah, I like the way I kind of synced that perfectly. Unfortunately, it's for the subject at hand. Is it vigilante season in New York? I asked that question seriously. Is it? A couple years ago, and I'm going to go on a slight tangent, but I'm going to get right back on course, because before I get into the seriousness, I got to get a joke off. A couple years ago in wrestling, Stern, the wrestler known as Stern, debuted for the first time ever in the WWE at Survivor Series 2014. And he debuted to right the wrongs of the Authority. The Authority had run amok. The Authority had ran rampant throughout the WWE. And Stern debuted to make sure that the Authority was put to rest. You know what his nickname was when he first debuted in the WWE? The Vigilante. They even distorted his voice, because I guess his voice wasn't manly enough for Vincent K. McMahon. So they even distorted his voice where he was trying to explain his actions on how he was going to get rid of the Authority. Never mind the fact that the Authority returned about a couple weeks later. But I remember they distorted his voice, and his name, he was like, "Yes, I came to the WWE to right the wrongs and to get rid of the authority. I am the vigilante. I am from your worst nightmare. I am Steph. I remember I was watching that. I had to die laughing. I'm like, yo, I've been watching Sting for 30 years. Sting never had that deep voice. And the fact that they call him the vigilante, you could hear it in Vince McMahon's voice. The vigilante, Stern. That's what I have for you. You're gonna be the vigilante. You walk around the streets of Gotham with the bat, taking out all the evildoers. You are the vigilante, Stern. Is that what's going on right now? Is it? Like I said in the intro, years ago, 40, yeah, probably 40 years ago, not even 30, about 40 years ago, we had the vigilante, the subway vigilante Bernard Getz, that felt emboldened enough because he was tired of being taken advantage of. He was tired of being threatened. He was tired of being, of having that fear of being robbed. That he got on the subway that one night, that one fateful night, with his gun, pretty much on his Charles Bronson-ish. Make my day. Yeah, I know that's Clint Eastwood. Bear with me here. Death Wish. Charles Bronson. Story of a vigilante. Took the law in his own hands. You know how many times he took the law in his own hands? How many Death Wish were there? Yeah, Death Wish, the original. Yeah, Death Wish 1, Death Wish 2, Death Wish 3, Death Wish 4. I don't know if they got up to 5. But these movies was set in the late 70s, early 80s. And probably put that seed of a courage in Bernard Getz's mind that he was going to be that year's Charles Bronson. Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry was a dirty cop, wasn't he? I don't remember. I've always said this. And like I said, this is going to give you a little peek into my psyche when it comes to certain things. I'll take road rage, for instance, right? Not so much road rage, road aggravation. I feel like if someone wants to lollygag their ass across the street against the light, you have the right to tap him in the fucking knee. Just don't honk. No. Because you knew you was crossing the street on the red, crossing the green, not in between. I feel like you should just tap him a little bit. Hit him in the kneecap. I guarantee you, if they walk for a limp for the next couple months, they'll think twice about crossing against the light. I feel the same way about people that cut you off. I feel like you should be able to just tap their bender just a little bit, just to let them know it really could happen. But in all seriousness, do we really need vigilantes in New York? Yeah, I know there's plenty of times that you feel like smacking the shit out of someone. Just because, especially in New York. Woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Get on the subway. Somebody wants to, you in a rush, they want to hold the door for their mans. Their mans and them coming down, strolling down the platform, making you late. But that doesn't give you the right to choke nobody out. Yeah, I know it's two different things. Like I said, I'm going to read from this article that they had in the New York Times about Jordan Neely, the man who was killed on the subway and who was dealing with mental issues. And it's talking about the man who did it, former Marine Daniel Penny, who claims that he was protecting himself and others from a deranged man when he choked Mr. Neely out. Because I'm not going to read this whole article, but I'm going to read the pertinent parts. It starts out. It was a Monday afternoon, and a 30-year-old man was ranting on an F train heading through Manhattan. He was a regular on the subway, once a gifted Michael Jackson impersonator, but he was also trouble. City workers had tried to help him out for years. You see how they're trying to build it up? I swear, sometimes I hate writers. Even though we need writers, we need reporters, but you see how they try to set the scene. It's going to be the reason I point that out is because you'll see the discrepancy on how they're setting, how they're creating the setting for public consumption. Inside the same car was a 24-year-old Marine veteran. After the military, he dropped out of college, posting online about his feeling posting online about feeling completely unfulfilled. And now he was looking for a bartender job in the city. You already see the okie doke, right? The man behaving erratically. Jordan Neely was homeless. He shouted to others on the train that he was hungry and that he didn't care about returning to jail. That he was ready to die, witnesses said. Oh yeah, I forgot. I kind of just went past the most important thing. There's video of this. I'm not going to post it here. You can find it online yourself. But there's literally video of this man. What the hell is his name again? Penny? Daniel Penny choking Mr. Neely out. Choking him to death. Wow. Two others were holding Mr. Neely's arms and legs down. Others was in the background. And someone actually intently filming this murder instead of actually trying to get help, or maybe, let's say, pulling Mr. Penny off a lifeless man for views, for clicks. Oh yeah, he's a freelance reporter. The person who filmed this. I continue. What exactly happened over the next several minutes is unclear. But eventually, the veteran, Daniel J. Penny, placed Mr. Neely in a chokehold. One similar to what he would have been taught in basic training, but with a crucial difference. And took him to the floor in a minutes-long struggle that ended Mr. Neely's life and stirred outrage throughout the city. That outrage, and this is me, because I saw this on New York 1, saw this on News 12, saw this on Channel 7 Eyewitness News, and it was asking strap hangers about their thoughts on what happened. They was, and almost split down the middle, like, well, he felt justified, he felt threatened. The freelance reporter that filmed this specifically said Mr. Neely screamed out, threw his jacket on the ground, and screamed I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, and I'm not afraid to go to jail. But never once did he say he threatened anybody else. I have been in the city. I'm going to be 47 this year. I've been on the trains, in the subway I've been riding the subway since I was at least 4 years old. I knew the map frontwards and backwards in my head by the age of 7. Probably younger than that, which is ironic due to my 9 to 5. And that's all I'll say. I've seen a lot worse. I see a lot worse sometimes on a daily basis. Any tried and true New Yorker knows bluster, erraticness, loud talking, okay. But if that person don't put their hands on you, that don't give you the right to just, they don't give you the right to choke them out. What gives you the right is, okay, you might say something back like, yo, shut the up. Or you keep it moving. Or what a lot of people do nowadays, put the headphones on and look down at their phone and ignore. Being inconvenienced because someone is homeless and agitated, to me, doesn't give anybody the right to take their life to the extreme. At the bare minimum, doesn't give you the right to put your hands on them. If you felt so threatened, guess what? There's an intercom. Guess what? Since the city always likes to crow about there's police presence in 95% of the stations, you could have reached out for help. You could have contacted the train staff. If you felt threatened enough that nobody touched you, nobody had you pinned in the corner, but you felt threatened, right? New Yorkers know there's a fine line, but they know most of the time. Look, all right, that's it. If you're not going to help, you ignore. But I continue. Their encounter, captured on video by another passenger, they conveniently leave out the fact that he's a freelance reporter, has once again revealed the deep fault lines in the ways New Yorkers and Americans beyond view race, homelessness, crime, and how some people seem to be treated differently by the police. Oh, we getting there. The veteran, Mr. Penny, who is white, was questioned by the police, but has not been charged with the crime for killing Mr. Neely, who is black. The majority of y'all know. Matter of fact, I'll say all of y'all know, because my viewership is only but so big. So I feel intimate. I feel like I know y'all. And I know y'all damn sure know me. All y'all know, if the situation was reversed, there's no way he would have been questioned after being caught on videotape yoking a person to death, questioned and released on his own recognizance before. Matter of fact, it wouldn't have been. He would have been stuck in central booking. He would have been stuck in the bullpen. He would have been stuck in the precinct until the results came back from the autopsy. Which, by the way, when they came out, they said, "Yeah, it's a homicide. Yeah, he was killed. Yeah, due to the fact that he was choked." Cranberry apple juice. Don't tell me I ain't trying to be healthy. 100% juice. You know what ingredients is in this? Cranberry juice and apples. Yeah, y'all know I can't go 5 minutes without just my attention just going elsewhere. But I felt like I just had to. Anyway, y'all know damn well that wouldn't have happened. In that time that he was released, now they're saying, yeah, they're bringing him back in because they're going to be, he hasn't been charged yet, but they need to further question him because they're continuing the investigation. And this time, now you got representation, and the representation is spinning out their narrative of what really happened. And guess what? When this goes to trial, because not if, but when this goes to trial, now you have a tainted jury base because now he already has his lawyer, his representation, putting out the narrative of what they want the public to perceive. You see how everything kind of goes in line, falls in line? Meanwhile, if it was someone like me, matter of fact, if it was me, I would have been stuck. And then when they found, oh, he was killed. Oh yeah, we got press charges. We got him. We got him. We got him. Got to make it official. Got to do the perp walk. I continue. Was this a citizen trying to stop someone from hurting others? No. Like I said, all reports say that he was ranting. He threw his jacket down, but never physically or verbally threatened anyone. Or was it an overreaction to a common New York encounter with a person with mental illness? You know what's killing me about the fact that they keep on harping on the mental illness aspect when concerning Mr. Neely? It's almost like they conveniently forget this Penny guy. They said he was a former Marine, right? At the age of 24. You don't think maybe he has some mental issues? Think about it. I'm not saying anybody that's been in the armed forces have no. Shoot. Someone I hold close and near and dear and consider brother was in the armed forces and A-okay. But how are you harping so much on the mental illness fact of Mr. Neely? Why? Because it's documented? But clearly, this man with his military training had a screw loose that caused him to snap. Maybe he had some type of PTSD episode that caused him to snap. But yet, I don't hear anybody trying to paint that narrative. It's the crazy black man was ranting and raving on the train. He had to be taken care of. He had to be put down, not put in check, put down like a dog in the street, or in this case, a dog in the subway train, subway car. I continue. As investigators examine the moments before Mr. Neely's death, friends and family told friends and family told of the slain man's sunny and upbeat demeanor as he struggled after his mother's murder when he was a teenager. More recently, he seemed in the grip. He seemed to be in the grip of serious mental illness and had occasional outbursts of violence. Now here's the other side of the ledger. Less is known of Mr. Penny. Oh, how convenient. How convenient. Less is known of Mr. Penny, but because Mr. Neely has been in the system, you're giving his whole rap sheet, his whole background, and everything. Once again, you're putting this out to the masses, potential jurors, right? For this trial that's going to happen, right? You see, like I said, you see the narrative, you see how shit is slanted when it comes to us? See how shit is slanted? Period. Less is known of Mr. Penny, who spent most of the last several years outside of New York. So he's not okay. On Friday, Mr. Penny's lawyers released a statement when Mr. Neely began aggressively threatening Daniel Penny and other passengers. Daniel, with the help of others, acted to protect themselves until help arrived. It read, Daniel never intended to harm Mr. Neely and could not have foreseen his untimely death. So you mean to tell me when you have video of this man having him in a chokehold on the ground and you see Mr. Neely's arms and legs flopping and then they just drop and it took someone to be like, yo, don't catch a murder charge on this. He acted to protect himself and others until help arrived. Well, you had him in the chokehold for how many minutes? He was clearly subdued. I feel bad, tell you the truth. No, matter of fact, I don't feel bad about none of this shit. None of the people that helped this happen. I was gonna say I feel bad for the people that was holding him down. No, because if anything, you should have been getting Mr. Penny to release the chokehold. Why are you holding this man arm and leg down and he's already being choked out? It would not surprise me if they're not called as accomplices. They should be called as accomplices. But like I said, the narrative's already been spent. When Mr. Neely began aggressively threatening Daniel Penny and other passengers, Daniel, with the help of others, acted to protect themselves until help arrived. Daniel never intended to harm Mr. Neely. Oh, so what? So when he just felt his lifeless body, well, his body become lifeless, he was like, maybe just taking a nap. You don't use a armed forces hold to not intentionally hurt someone. I continue. Matter of fact, I'm not. I They say Mr. Neely's childhood was abruptly derailed when he was 14. Lived with his mother out in Jersey, and so forth. In 2007, Mr. Neely disappeared. Mr. Neely was murdered. Then they talk about his time in high school. You see how they're giving the whole rundown. They say he dropped out. His family said this week in later years, he turned up on social media, executing highly choreographed Michael Jackson impersonation in the subway, and dressed like the performer in his prime. I don't understand. I fail to understand. Like, they actually had a protest, I believe, yesterday, which would be Saturday, on 63rd and Lexington Avenue on the F line. Um, they had a rally with Al Sharpton and Jermaine Williams, um, calling for Mr. Penny to be arrested, Mr. Penny to be brought to justice, just as if it was anybody else. And furthermore, for there to be a more concerted effort to help those who are homeless dealing with mental illness. What has been conveniently forgotten is that since we quote unquote reopened, damn, when was the official reopening of the city? What, last year sometime? Into 2021? I don't remember. Because, pandemic over. Even though they talking about some other strain that conveniently gets you pink eye. Like it ain't allergy season out this mother, you know what? I ain't gonna get into my conspiracy theories about that. But according to everybody, pandemic over, right? But during the pandemic, during from 2020 to 2022, if you want to stretch it that long, for those 2 years, a lot of the services that people received were null and void because everybody had to isolate. But guess who couldn't isolate? The homeless, the people that was out on the street, the people that was in the shelters. They couldn't isolate themselves in the safety of their own home. But yet they couldn't go to places that they normally would go to receive help if they wanted help. But then when you reopen, you just expect everything to go right back to normal, the new normal, right? Remember how they used to try to get that term over? The new normal, the new normal, the new normal. But then you want to know why there's a crisis out here? Because for 2, 3 years, people didn't have a voice. People were just left to their own uh devices. But you expect everything to go back to normal without dealing with things that got worse, with situations that got worse during the pandemic. So now those issues that the people have been dealing with for the last 2 years, 3 years, that gotten worse since the pandemic, now you want to use that as an excuse of why someone deserved to die. I've been willing over the last couple months to give our Mayor Adams, a little bit of slack. Because as everybody knows, I used to always call him Mayor Benson. But then I had to take a step back. I'm like, whoa, okay. As a black man, is it really right for me to poke jokes, especially some would say kind of racial insensitive jokes? Like if I was white, would it be all right for me to call Mayor Adams Mayor Benson? I mean, the only difference is, the only similarity is they're both black men or in governmental power, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take I'm gonna take a step back on that because that's dead wrong. Yes, everything is not for jokes. Everything's not for laughs. So I was like, I'm gonna take a step back. Because at the end of the day, we have a black man, we have a black police chief, not only a black police chief, a female African American police chief or commissioner. There's so many positions in city government that we've never attained before or been of prominence before, that he's made a point to put us or give us the opportunity to show what we have and hopefully create a network that can continue to do that in years and years to come. So I just felt like, you know what, I need to chill with the jokes. But there are a lot of times, and this time is one of those times that he just put his foot in his mouth. Instead of, he's been inconsistent on the issue. And maybe a lot of people are saying that's because he's a former cop himself, and he'll tell you, yeah, I was a transit cop for X amount of years. So maybe his mentality is a certain way, a lot more rigid than the average civilian. I can understand it to a certain degree, but situations like this need to be dealt with tactfully, especially when you have the racial dynamic that we have at hand with a white man pretty much killing a black man with his own bare hands. Potential powder keg. I totally lost my train of thought. But it's just I'm gonna go back to this article because it's still planting seeds of one man is rightfully murdered, the other man should be given a parade down the Canyon of Heroes. Homeless outreach workers noted that Mr. Neely heavily used K2, the powerful, unpredictable synthetic marijuana. In June 2019, outreach worker noticed that Mr. Neely had lost considerable weight and was sleeping upright. Around that time, he was reported to have banged on a booth agent's door and threatened to kill her, according to the worker's notes. Then he was gone. That's pre-pandemic, 2019, pre-pandemic, and they're saying that for years he's had a steady slope, a steady decline mentally. So, what do you think that happened the last 3 years? When everything was back, when we was back to normal, with a new normal, did he automatically just go right back? Was he at the beginning of the line, and then he just able to slide back in like, yeah, remember me? I need help. Or was he forgotten about? They say at some point, Mr. Neely became a client of an intensive mobile treatment team, one of the squads of mental health clinicians, clinicish, ah, who minister to people in streets and shelters. In March 2020, the team had Mr. Neely taken to Bellevue Hospital, where he was kept for a week, according to homeless outreach records. It was not clear what contact the team had with him after that. You see, so pretty much from June 2019 to March 2020, they was able to interact with him. They were able to keep up with him. They were able to try to guide him. From March 2020 until his untimely demise, there's no clear way of what contact the team may have had with him. In February 9th of this year, in a carefully planned, listen, matter of fact, all right. In November 2021, so that's good 18 months from March 2020 to November 2021, Mr. Neely's aggression seemed to peak when he punched a 67-year-old woman in the street on the Lower East Side, the police said. He was charged with assault and awaiting the resolution of his case. Spent 15 months in jail, the police said, though his family said the stint was shorter. He pleaded guilty on February 9th of this year in a carefully planned strategy between the city and his lawyers to allow him to get the treatment that he needed and to stay out of prison. Do you know what the goal is today? The judge said. Yes, Mr. Neely replied. What is the goal? To make it physically and mentally to the program. He was to go to court. He was to go from court to live at a treatment facility in the Bronx and stay clean for 15 months. In return, his felony conviction would be reduced. He promised to take his medication and to avoid drugs and not to leave the facility without permission. But just 13 days later, he abandoned the facility. Judge Bibbin issued a warrant for his arrest. On April 8th, when outreach workers approached him in a subway car at the end of the line in Coney Island, Mr. Neely urinated in front of them. When the outreach worker went to call police, he shouted, "Just wait until they get here. I got something for you. Just wait and see." But you see how this is being spent. Less is known. Once again, less is known about Mr. Penny. 6 years out of high school, 4 of them spent in the Marines. He attended high school in West Islip on the South Shore of Long Island and played lacrosse. The news site The Gothamist reported. In the military, he received several ribbons and awards, common in peacetime activity, according to his military records, and it was promoted to sergeant before leaving active duty in 2021. A person named Danny Penny with the identical military background posted on Harry.com, a website for those seeking work in the hospitality industry, that he had tried in college, felt completely unfulfilled, and decided to drop out of school and backpack throughout Central America. You mean, okay. He worked for several months until last May at a surf shop in North Carolina, near the Marine base where he was last stationed. He loves anything surfing related. He's a people person, a very easygoing person. Not a lot stresses him out. Mr. Penny posted on the hospitality site that he had dreamed of bartending in Manhattan. During the travels, I rediscovered my love for interacting and connecting with people. Rediscovered. So what happened from the time that he left the military to the time that he went backpacking in Central America that made him not want to deal with people? Oh yeah, I guess we're just going to report and really delve real deep into the deceased history, but not the person that's going to be in defense of trying to get out of going to jail. No, we're not going. We're just going to skim over everything because once again, not much is known about Mr. Penny. During the travels, I rediscovered my love for interacting and connecting with people. Being able to serve and connect with the most interesting and eccentric the world has to offer is what I believe I am meant to do. I am meant to do. More details will emerge describing the moments leading up to the chokehold on the train. But one thing seems clear. The maneuver resembled one Mr. Penny almost certainly was taught in the military. New Marines are trained to apply a blood choke, which, when done properly, cuts off blood and oxygen to the brain in as little as 8 seconds. It is imperative in a blood choke not to squeeze the person's windpipe, which can lead to injury or worse. On the F train on May 1st, Juan Alberto Vasquez, a freelancer, a freelance journalist. Finally, at the end of the article, they finally divulge that he was a freelance journalist. Began recording the video after Mr. Penny had placed Mr. Neely in a headlock. He later said that Mr. Neely had been yelling about being hungry and unafraid to die, but it's unclear if he had physically threatened anyone. It is also unclear whether Mr. Neely and Mr. Penny interacted before the encounter, but Mr. Penny and the other riders on the train would not have known about Mr. Neely's history of arrest. No, they wouldn't have. Mr. Penny held Mr. Neely down. The restrained man thrashed and kicked for at least 2 minutes. Didn't they say the blood choke is only good for about 8 seconds? Within 8 seconds, he'll be subdued, right? He was held in the chokehold for 2 minutes before becoming limp. Two men hovered over the action, helping to pin down Mr. Neely. You don't have to catch a murder charge. You got a hell of a choke, man. It is unknown whether Mr. Penny was attempting the blood choke he had learned a few years earlier. The moment when Mr. Neely should have lost consciousness after about 8 seconds or so had long passed. In the video, as Mr. Penny lets go and stands up, a bystander could be heard saying, "Don't leave him on his back. Don't leave him on his back, though, man. He might choke on his own spit if you put him on his back. Put him on the side." One of the men who had been holding Mr. Neely complies with the request, rolling Mr. Neely on the side. While he does so, Mr. Penny gets up, fetches his baseball cap, and puts it on. 600 miles away, Mr. Penny's surfing friend, Mr. Santinello, watched the video like countless others. He could only guess at Mr. Penny's mindset, and I quote, "Knowing Danny and knowing his intentions, it was to help others around him." Knowing Danny and knowing his intentions, it was obvious that it was to help others around him. That was a crock of bullshit. Like I said, I've been born and raised in New York. I've been in the subway system for the majority of my life, especially the last 20 years or so. And I've seen a lot of things. From what was shown and what was in the accounts of what happened on that in that subway car preceding the choke, nothing that I heard tells me that that man deserved to die. Nothing that I heard or read tells me that the man who killed Mr. Neely deserved to walk off scot-free on his own recognizance immediately after that. More will come out, and when more comes out, I'm going to talk about it. Because to me, this is a tipping point, a potential tipping point in this city. Like I said, 40 years ago, Bernard Goetz, Vigilante. But this ain't Gotham. We don't got a 6-foot guy in a bat uniform, in a bat costume, righting the wrongs. If that was the case, a lot of shit would be different. I am stern. We don't got a man in crow paint, in a long black leather jacket with a black bat, talking about he's trying to get rid of the authority. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't be afraid. It's a safe space here. Because I know I'm not the only one who smells bullshit. I know I'm not. Prayers, and I hate this saying. I really do hate this saying. I hate when prayers and condolences to the family, blah blah blah. I really hate that saying, but I hate it when I hear it from people who I feel like is not being sincere when they say it. And I'm truly being sincere when I say prayers and condolences to Mr. Neely's family, loved ones, close friends, and preparing for this battle that's going to come because, like I said, that man didn't deserve to die. Okay, if he had issues if he didn't threaten nobody, he didn't deserve to die. I don't even know how I'm going to transition from that. Everything is too damn high, including my blood pressure from talking about the prior subject. The other week, matter of fact, this past week in New York, rent stabilized apartments, they're supposed to get a little increase every year in the rent. Okay, understandable. But what was on the council's table was a rent increase for 1-year leases of 5 to 8%, 2-year leases up to 16%. I think normal guidelines are probably 1 to 3% per year. They agreed to it, and it's not set in stone, but a lot of times at the preliminary hearings, whatever's set forth at the preliminary hearings is really what's going to happen when they put it up for vote. There was a lot of performative things of, some public figure. Matter of fact, representatives, city council members, storming the stage in their disgust with the verdict, in their disgust with the outcome, in disgust with the fact that they're going to be raising the rent, going to try to raise the rent 16%. There's nothing affordable in New York. Period. I don't care what they tell you. You know, there was some stats a couple weeks ago that I was watching on New York One, and one of the stats were for every $100,000 per $100,000 household, how long how long does your money stretch? What's the equivalent of it? They said in New York, for every $100,000 that you make, it's only worth about $30,000 before taxes. So they said due to rent, taxes, and food, your $100,000 per year is only worth $30,000. So imagine the people. Yeah. Now, one of the states that your money goes the longest, which is actually coincidentally my goal for when I get out of my shoe job in about 5 years, Virginia. For every $100,000 you make per year, that's the equivalent of $83,000. But I digress. Last week, and I used this example to try to explain what I'm trying to get at when I say everything is too damn high. Last week, last Monday to be exact, I went to Wegmans. Now, Wegmans, people are like, yeah, Wegmans kind of expensive. No. That's a misconception to me. Wegmans is considered expensive when you go for gourmet items. But everyday items, they're pretty reasonable. And a lot of times you're getting, I won't say a lot of bang for your buck, but you're getting healthier food. You're getting more variety. Especially being the fact that we don't have a Walmart in New York. Wegmans, when it comes to like specialty items, sometimes I go there, I'm like, you know what? That's one of the places I go there only when I have money to splurge. But I need to go there more often just for the fact of just food shopping for certain things. But I digress. So I went there last week because for some reason I was having takeout and I was trying to figure out what I want to eat. And I couldn't figure out because every damn thing I'm tired of. I'm tired of KFC. I'm tired of all this fast food. I'm tired of Heroes, sandwiches. I'm tired of a lot of things. So I was like, you know what? Let me try to switch it up. They got some good wings. They got the good tenders, like good sauces. I'm like, you know what? Let me order that. We got some sides at home. We can put the wings and the tenders with the sides, make us a meal, right? So I go down there, I order it, go pick it up. But while I'm there, like, there's a couple things that always catch my eyes. One of it is this juice. There's another one. I got another juice, but it only comes in a small container, which is kind of effed up. It's lemon, ginger, and something else. But it's like a little, probably about 20-ounce container, but it gives you a good kick. I drink that. $6 though. But they have this lemon garlic chicken breast, grilled chicken. Get a nice container, get you six nice pieces of breast. It's $23. I get that from my wife because she likes to make that. She likes to make grilled chicken salads. Got some fruit. Got a container of strawberries. Got a container of blueberries. Got a container of some sliced melons. And being the fact I'm a foodie, I like junk food. Sue me. They have this lemon coffee cake. It melts in your mouth. Tell you the truth, on a hot day, it'll melt in your hands too, but it melts in your mouth. Though. Just like it's so scrumptious. But That's $13. Yeah, I can get Intamin, but Intamin's damn near $10. I'd rather get some freshly made coffee cake. Not including the tenders and the wings. 2 juices, some fruit, chicken breast, and a coffee cake. I told my coworker this. I had one reusable bag full of food. Do you know how much I ended up walking out of there spending? What'd you say? I didn't hear you. No, you're wrong. I ended up spending 75, damn near $80 on one bag of food. Like I said, fruit, fruit juice, lemon coffee cake, and some chicken breast. Now people is like, well, you went to Wegmans. What'd you expect? That's not the point. What I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it's like that everywhere. 2 bedrooms apartments in Brooklyn, to be exact. 2 bedroom apartments in a decent neighborhood. Matter of fact, no, F a decent in a decent build. Matter of fact, no, not even 2 bedroom apartments. $2,200 and better. $2,200 and better. You'd be lucky if you get a 2 bedroom apartment for $2,000. If it's below $2,000, best believe you're living in an ish hole. And even that they want like 18. The price of food is outrageous. Do you know how much my insurance is? My car insurance just went up to for one car. Um, I've been a driver for 18 years. I've had one accident on record. No, matter of fact, one accident in 18 years. I've gotten a couple fender benders that I did not report. That wasn't my fault, because imagine how bad my insurance would be if I would have reported them. Full coverage, because I still do tote my daughter around from time to time. So, and once you take that full coverage, guaranteed something gonna happen. You're like, darn, I wish I had the full coverage. Guess how much my car insurance is? Oh, you nowhere near what it is, huh? Yeah, you got it. $514 per month. The last accident, the only accident I've had on record was 17 years ago. The last moving violation I had was at least 5 years ago. I'm lying. 3 years ago, because I caught a speeding ticket on my way to pick up my daughter at the very onset of the pandemic. I was doing 90 near Binghamton. Hey, listen, there was nobody on the road. What I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to do 50? She was a pandemic. Had to go get my daughter. But still, that's nothing for the reason why it should be $514 per month. Imagine if I still had a car note. How about this? Maybe that's preventing me from even thinking about getting another car. Cause I'm like, shoot, for 2 cars, how much is it going to be? Especially if I get a decent car with 700 and change. I should be like a lot of mother effers and get my stuff out of state. But I'm trying to be an upstanding citizen. But my pockets are like, mother effer, you need to be crooked. Everything is too high. But the reason I wanted to bring this up, and I'm going to just say my piece and I'm going to get up out of here because I'm looking at the time, and yeah, time has flown. Do you know the reason why we're in a recession? I mean, why we're dealing with inflation? This is my point of view. This is my thoughts. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. Do you know a lot of times history has proven this to be correct? that when we're in wartime, inflation happens. When we're in a stable time, inflation happens. What did people think for all this money that we're in billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars to fight the war on Putin, aka aid to the Ukraine? If billions are going out and nothing is coming back in, on top of sanctions and so forth, where do you think this money was going to come from? No, you're going to jack up the prices. Everything needs to go up. The price of energy needs to go up because now we're getting it from a different source. Oh, we used to get this. No, now we're going to get, now we got to get it over here. Prices go up. Tariffs, imports, all the whole nine. Also, rent, especially rent, for let's say the first 2.5 years of the pandemic, there was a rent freeze. Rent freeze meaning, and maybe I'm using the terminology a little wrong, but meaning if you did not pay your rent, you cannot be evicted due to the pandemic. Guess what? Those protections are gone. So I remember hearing people loud and proud, you don't got to pay your rent. Don't worry about it. They can't kick you out. Yo, you better stack that bread. All because they couldn't kick you out. That doesn't mean the tally wasn't continuing to go up. It just meant that, all right, we can't kick you out. And now when it gets to a certain point, guess what? There's no way in hell that you can pay the amount that cause you, that'll allow you to stay where you're at. So this homeless situation in New York is about to explode exponentially. Once again, landlords trying to recoup. Not saying it's correct, but they're trying to recoup. Rent too damn high. Now we have the influx or the continuing influx of migrants into the city through no fault of their own. They're being shipped up here from Texas by Governor Abbott. I think they said we was having 300 per day for the last year. Now that's about to increase with the lifting of I forgot the name of it, but it's a law that was enacted during the pandemic, and now it's supposed to expire. So we're going to have we're going to have an influx of people coming into the country, i.e., coming through Texas, and Texas are going to be redirecting them to here. So they said we was getting about 300 per day for the last year, almost the last year. Let's say last 8 months. Now that's about to explode to maybe 800 to 1,000 per day. Where's this money coming from? Where's this money going to come from to take the influx of people that, yes, we're obligated to take, that the government is allowing to come in? Hmm? Here's my here's my problem. It's not the problem of allowing them in, because look, I am not anti-immigration or all that. Don't try to paint me with that broad brush. But you're allowing the influx. Now you have this Republican governor down in Texas, and a Republican governor, and I'm not even going on Republicans and Democrats, but because F both of them. You have the people down in Florida that's taking them in, and they're rerouting them up north. DC is not doing anything about it. Mayor Adams has gone down there and let them know, like, look, you wanted us to take them? All right, fine. We got things we got to deal with the people we have. Can we get some help? Can we get some bread? Phone call is not being returned. Wow, 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 wow. And he's going on the offense like, yo, DC dropping the ball. Biden dropping the ball. What are y'all doing? I got a budget I got to balance. I got to devote all this money to receive the migrants. And I hate calling them that, but that's the term that they're using. So this we're going to use. I got to receive these people. But I only have so much money. Y'all promised me funding. I need places to house them. I need housing. I need employees to help process them. Where's my help? Guess what? Where the money coming from? Everything too damn high. Last but not least, did people really think that that little BS stimulus money we was getting was not going to be recouped? When they gave people thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, I'm not talking about the PPP loans. I ain't talking about that. Because look, if y'all was able to get them, hey, I hope it was on the up and up. But when everybody was getting these thousands and thousands of which called stimulus money, when has this country ever given us anything free and not expected it on the back end? I'll wait. Yeah, my point exactly. I say this, and this is probably the last thing I'll say on this subject before I get up out of here. Leave like a tree. Last year for taxes, right? I remember it was 2021. They gave everybody which got the child tax credit. So you're getting 200, 300 a month for your child, right? For your qualifying child, per child. Now my thing is, thankfully, I was blessed enough to feel like, yeah, that 200, 300 came in handy, but it wasn't dire need. Like I could have done without it. But they didn't specify that it was a loan. They said, yeah, you got a child, we give you the bread. We're going to give you the bread that you richly deserve. 2022, when I found out my taxes, doing on TurboTax, it asked me, did you receive the child tax loan from 2021? I'm like, loan? I ain't get no loan. No, I ain't get that. About a week later, get a letter in the mail. Our records indicate that you did, in fact, receive that loan in 2021. You owe us $1,500. That's just an example of saying, you think they gave away millions and millions and millions. Did I say no, it hasn't been. It should have been $1 billion, but millions and millions and millions of dollars to the American public, and you really think they was going to recoup that on the back end? Look, I've been slow to the party. I'm about to finish season 4 of Snowfall. The government does a lot of things to recoup that money. They need to no, they don't. No, they don't. I'm gonna say they need to be moving something into something. get these prices down, but no, that's just gonna complicate matters. Hey, wanna say hi? You can say hi off camera.
Hi.
Yeah, my daughter don't got much to say after she recorded me sleep. Yeah.
Post it.
Go ahead, post it.
Okay.
Go ahead, post it. Yeah, check out. You know what? yeah. I'm not gonna blow you up because my daughter got I swear my daughter got social media, but she don't post. She posted. She's the queen of posting and deleting, which is actually something that I probably need to do. But I don't have nothing that I need to delete. Delete, delete, delete. Anyway, yeah, I think that kind of just got me off track for the last time, and I'm really not trying to go over an hour and a half because this is gonna be a long one for the first time in a while. But yeah, everything's too damn high. Everything is too damn high. But you know what's not too damn high? I'll tell you. Even though some people would say, you know, some people would say that this individual's voice might be a tad too damn high. but not me. Not me, because I like the dude. And maybe when you listen to this, you like this dude too.
All, I am the Mojo King, and I am here to support my brother's podcast and all of his salty thoughts. Alright, let's not say all of his salty thoughts, maybe 90%. He's a bit of a wild man. I am also here to plug my 3 podcasts. Yes, 3 of them. Hidden Gems Golf is a quick 10 to 12 minute pod where I talk long shots on the PGA Tour. Long shots mean big money when they pay off. There is also Hip Hop Hidden Gems, where historian William Freeman and I discuss songs and or artists who deserve more shine. We talked about Big Daddy Kane, Gangstar, Chino XL. We have a West Coast legend coming up. We even featured a little R&B and soul for Valentine's Day. It's a little bit nostalgia and a whole lot of fun. That's Hip Hop Hidden Gems. Lastly, but not leastly, is Hidden Gems Football. That is where me and the great Donnie Yu discuss upcoming NFL action. You already know how Donnie gets down with his spicy takes.
What are you doing? There's no more Donnie Yu.
I'm doing an ad for the salty thoughts of Donnie Yu.
No, not Donnie Yu. The salty thoughts of Mike Steph.
What are you talking about? Who the is Mike Steph? And by the way, Hidden Gems Football is the Mojo King and
Mike Steph.
What? What are you? Nah, I'm out. Screw this.
Hello? And back to you, Mike Steph.
This is bullshit.
Gets me every time. Gets me every time. Once again, I'd like to thank the Mojo King and the Mojo Queen for giving me such a grandiose commercial. And yeah, I know I said it last week, or was it the week before? I know I owe you a commercial, and as soon as I get to my recording equipment, I will definitely give you that commercial because it needs to be up top notch. So yeah, please check out my brother, the Mojo King, and his hidden gems of various things. Like I said, hip hop hidden gems golf, and hidden gems football. I'm going to keep the plugs nice and short this week. I'm going to give you a list, and you check them out at your earliest convenience. Check out my brothers from the land of the desert, Winchester McDowell, on Gimmick Infringement, each and every Monday on the YouTube page of the 19 Media Group, and with all streaming platforms that ever podcasts are available. Check them out when they recap the latest happenings in the world of professional wrestling, and they will give you a promo of the week, hopefully, on a lot of their transgressions, matter of fact, their irritations of what happened in the past week in their day-to-day lives. Check out my bros from the Black Wrestling Podcast, BRP Live, each and every Thursday at 8:35 p.m. Check out Cal, Drip, Math, Fam, the Queen Mimi. Check them out each and every Thursday, 8:35 BRP Live. Check them out on the Black Wrestling Patreon, Patreon/slash Black Wrestling. Pay the 1 or to pay the 10, please. You'll be glad you did. And I got a prop today. I've been looking for this mother effer for a while. Check out my bro, the homie, Body More Bottles on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Check out B Moore's F that. Check out YouTube's #1 reviewer in all liquors, all beers, all spirits, all wines, all wine coolers, all concoctions, all cocktails, all everything. Yeah, this is a little coaster, custom coaster of Body More Bottles. Yes, it's not a 1 of 1, but it's probably a 10 of 10. Cause I don't think he's coming out with anymore. And I got mine. Check out the homie. Body More Bottles on YouTube. Like and subscribe. What the? You heard me? Yeah. So those are the abbreviated plugs that I normally get into. And yeah. So like I said, this week was a little bit different. This week I had to get a lot of things off my chest. And this week wasn't going to talk about sports. I don't know if I'll talk about sports next week. I might not, depending on how this next week goes. My Warriors, stand up, stand up, stand up, my Warriors. We're going to tie things 2-2 tomorrow, or by the time you hear this and see this, 2-2 later on tonight. And my New York Knickerbockers, go New York, go New York, go, go New York, go New York, go. We're going to tie it up against the Miami Heat 2-2, our damn selves, this evening in Dade County. Yeah. So, with all that being said and done, I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for making me in this podcast the one y'all choose to listen to and the one y'all choose to view. Please check out the audio version of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast each and every Monday on the following streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the formerly named Anchor.fm, amongst others. New episodes drop on Monday. Check me out on the following social media platforms: at Mike Stephen __ on Twitter, at Mike _ Steph on Instagram, and at Mike Steph _ on TikTok around the clock. Yeah. So, with all that being said and done, it's time for me to get out of here. I will see y'all next week, God willing. Just be easy out there. And once again, like, subscribe, comment, share. More importantly, share. Spread the gospel. Spread the word of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph. Till next week. Goodbye. Damn it. That hadn't happened in a while. It's still going. I pressed start and it's still going. Ain't that a bitch? That's kind of messed up, right? What you think I should do? You think I should press it again? You don't know?
I don't know how this works.
You don't know how this works?
No.
Why you don't know how this works?
I never did. Excuse me. I don't know. I don't know how you.
You don't know how I just work this thing?
I don't.
Oh, well, I guess because I got to press stop recording twice. So, yeah. So, see y'all again because I had to. See?